Martina, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I am Martina Della Corte and I am a cloud architect at K3, which is a Swedish company, and we actually became really recently a AWS Control Tower delivery partner, so I'm really happy to be here today to speak about Control Tower. I'm also an official member of the AWS community since 2024 as a community builder, and I'm also the co-leader of the user group Orebro, and co-organizer of the AWS Women's User Group Sweden, which was recently created, and I'm really proud of. Okay, so let's see what we're going to talk about today. The first thing we're going to see is that we're going to talk about why having good cloud foundations in place is a key for the success of a cloud-based organization. We're going to see what does really mean to have a good cloud foundation in place and what happens when we are lacking of those. And we see how we can build that. To do that, we will show how we can do that as first step. We should always have in place a multi-account strategy, and we will see how we can achieve that by using AWS organizations. And then I'm going to finally introduce AWS Control Tower. I usually said there is a hidden gem, but not really so hidden because the service was released in 2019. So it's out there since quite a lot. But probably it was a bit immature at the beginning and people were a bit disappointed. So I think it doesn't have the popularity that it should have, because it can really make a difference in establish good cloud foundation and achieve cloud governance at scale. And then I'm gonna share with you a solution where we can get we can refine the AWS Control Tower default setup and really try to get cost control and visibility in place. We can get a better monitoring and observability of our cloud environment, and to enhance security and governance. And of course, we wrap up our thoughts and we see what we have learned, and if there's time, we will have a Q&A session. So, it's 2025, and we are in the middle of the AI era. Everyone is speaking about AI, agents, and no matter the size of the organization, so small business, medium, enterprise, they're trying to understand how we need to use AI. How can we use AI? So by given that, you can think, okay, if they can focus on that, then they probably have good cloud foundations in place. Well, that is not the truth. Having a good cloud foundation is not a given. There's always a gap, I think, when you start to use, you start your journey in the cloud, and you reach a good maturity in your journey. And this gap is always like having good cloud foundation in place. So, and the reason why is that because they usually, it's so easy to start in cloud. You don't have upfront costs. You pay as you go. You can scale on demand, so you just start and build. But then if you don't have a good strategy in place, then you will reach a point where, as soon as you grow, then you start to be painful. So I've been mentioning this good cloud foundation, solid cloud foundation. What does that really mean? Having good cloud foundation means to have an environment that is built to scale, to be secure and cost efficient from the very beginning. It sounds like, so you can think that it's only a technical things, but it's not really, it's not only about technical things. It's also about planning, it's also about take the right decision, understanding your business goals and needs. And in the AWS context, we can even give another definition, which is having an environment that it has a set of capabilities that will help you to plan, implement, operate, and govern your environment. In fact, AWS suggests in order for you to establish a solid cloud foundation, they suggest to use a capabilities-based approach when you are starting. And they identified 29 capabilities organized in 6 categories. So we have governance, risk management, and compliance. Then we have security, operations, finance, business continuity, and infrastructure. It's out of the scope to go into the details of each of these capability so we're going to see some of them later on, but we don't have to go into the details of each of them. One thing that we need to understand here is that we don't have to have all of them at the same time, of course. That really depends on your business needs and where you are in the cloud journey. So, and also like your environment is a living creature, so it will evolve, you will add workloads. So you can use those capabilities as a validation tool to understand if like, okay, we're growing, we want to add something new. Is still our environment will support us, will support cloud governance, will continue to scale. So what happens when cloud foundation are not in place? Well, that's pretty easy. You will, as soon as you grow, you will lose visibility and control over your environment, and operation and governance, it will be really hard to achieve. And this means that growth and scale will be not supported. How do we build our foundational environment? The first and crucial step is to have a multi-account strategy in place. It might sound really obvious, but I'm sure that many of you had the experience to work with like one single account with test environment, a prod environment, or having like one account and workloads, maybe a bunch of workloads that are like whose ownership is two completely different teams. So, I mean, it sounds obvious, but it's not. And we can achieve this easily within AWS by using AWS organization. I'll try to keep it simple and just explain this in a simple way. So what you can do within AWS organization is to create and manage your AWS account, and then you can apply policies or you manage those accounts by organizing them in organizational unit, which is a logical and hierarchical way to organize and manage your accounts. You can nest organizational units, and then you can apply policies to it. So all the accounts within a OU will inherit the policy. And then another really nice feature about AWS organization, it has a lot of integrations with many AWS services and will allow you to centralize the management of some part, at least, of your organization. This is just like a recap, I would say, of what I've just said, and in a visual way. So where you deploy the, where you set your organization will be the management account. And then, as you can see, you have a bunch of organizational units, you apply policy, and then within an organizational account, you can have either member accounts, which is single, like AWS accounts, or other organizational units. AWS recommend to have some of those OUs that should be always in place. Of course, the foundational one should be always in place, and we have security and infrastructure. Security, easy to understand. You will have like accounts where like you have security related resources, and you should organize them in production and non-production organizational unity. And yes. And the other one is infrastructure, which is like account that will contains the shared infrastructure for your organization. So usually it could be like, it's an example like networking infrastructure. Then on the other side, you see stuff that you might need based on your business needs. Without going too much into the details, I would say that, of course, workloads should be there. And even there, it recommends to organize accounts in production and non-production. And I would say Sandbox is also a nice one to have, because you usually, under this organizational unit, you want to create an individual account for each of your developer where they can test out services and so on. Yeah, and then probably I would say that within an organization you should always have exception if you want to invite existing account and you don't want to break stuff. You need to have an organizational unit where like you don't have so many like a policy that restricts too much to block your workloads, and as well as suspended, because maybe like you discovered some security issue and then you want to put them in quarantine, you want to understand, and then you can apply a policy to the suspended one where like you say deny all the actions and you can put in quarantine your account without deleting it or yeah. So if we go back to the capabilities, the workload, I mean, to set up workload isolation. And now the hidden gem. So I mentioned before why I said I think it's a hidden gem, and this AWS Control Tower. And like what AWS Control Tower can do, it's really like it will create for you, we will see it later, an environment that it's like it will have some capabilities in place. It's the first thing about Control Tower is that it's built on top of AWS organizations. So all the features, all the things we have seen before, we will have it, because AWS Control Tower either creates and set up the AWS organization for you, or if you have an existing one, you can like use that one. And then it will create a good baseline for security and governance, because AWS Control Tower will create for you two organizational units, security and sandbox, and within the security one, it will create two accounts for you. The audit account, which is the security account, and the log archive account. So without you have to do anything, just setting up Control Tower, you will get that out of the box. So a good starting point to work on your security and governance. And then another cool feature is Account Factory. So it will allow you to create pre-configured accounts, and there's also a possibility with some customization to create some template where like when you create the accounts, you can tell what you want to deploy within the account. And that will, you don't have to do anything. It will fix that for you. So this is how in AWS Control Tower context, this is called the landing zone. So this is what AWS Control Tower will create for you. As I said before, we have two organizational units. And in the sandbox will be empty, but it will create for you. And then we have the security OU, where, like as I said before, we have an audit account, which will be like the security account and the log archive account. There's for any other AWS service, there's a different way to set up Control Tower. With my company, we do it through CDK and SDK and so on, but like, of course, the easiest way to try it out is the console. And it's really user-friendly, and it will allow you to choose a bunch of things that you want to enable or setting up. If we look at the management account, we can see AWS IAM Identity Center. So it will give you the possibility to manage your users and access control by enabling IAM Identity Center for you. It will also enable CloudTrail, and it will make sure to store like the logs into the log archive account. In the log archive account, we have two buckets. One is AWS Control Tower logs, where like we have the CloudTrail logs, and also the one thing I forgot to say, it will enable also config for you. And then in the AWS Control Tower logs, you will have AWS CloudTrail logs and AWS config historical data. The access log is a bucket where like you can, you will know who accessed those data. So you will have audit around about the AWS Control Tower logs. Another thing that it will enable, that will allow it to do, is to encrypt those any AWS Control Tower related data. And one last thing is to, there's a possibility also to set up backup. It's a bit special because with backup, you must have an existing organization in place, and you have to have two existing accounts because you will need those because they will act as central backup account and backup admin account. So if you are deploying Control Tower for the first time and you don't have an organization already created, then you can't do that. So you need to deploy Control Tower first and then deploy backup. So this is how the landing zone look like. You really have to just go through the console and say, I want this enable, I want that enable, and then in less than 60 minutes, it will create this for you. So if we go back to the capabilities, this is what we managed to achieve. So, I mean, we can see that it stepped up a bit the game, and with no effort, basically, and with not so much knowledge, you managed to get some more capability in place, like, as we said, backup, recovery, identity management and access control by enabling IAM Identity Center, the log storage, and encryption and key management, and audit and governance. I mean, this is good, and also if we compare with what we get with the AWS organization, we can see that you get an environment where you get a bit more without so much more effort, honestly. But I mean, it's still a default setup, and we are still missing of some key things for having solid cloud foundation. So I would like to share with you a solution that I think it requires a minimal effort, more or less, and I think it's something that no matter the size of your company and no matter where you are in your cloud journey, you should have in place. And it's based on 3 key points, which I mentioned in the introduction before: cost control and visibility, monitoring and observability of the cloud environment, and enhancing security and governance. And this is how the blueprint looked like. We added a bunch of OUs, and as you can see, some of those are like the recommended, or all of them are recommended by AWS. Just a note, I removed the backup part because I think it would have been too messy and it would have taken a bit of space out of the, mainly because it would have been too messy and hard to read. So if we look at the first point, I will try to explain what I included by the key goals that I have here. So if we start with cost control and visibility, we can see that in the management account we added AWS budgets. So the first thing we do is like setting up budgets that you can set on cost budgets, reserve instance budgets, and then savings plan budgets. And you can get notification when you hit the budget, or also for forecast if you want. And in order to, maybe I will go back here just to make sure, we want to have better control and observability, monitoring of your cloud environment. So the key part here is that you need to have a notification set up somehow. And what I did here, it was using a chatbot, which is for a free service. You just pay for the underlying infrastructure, which would be SNS and Bridge, and you can choose to send notification to Slack or Teams. So since all of us work either in one of those, reaching developers or several teams, it's easy, and it's nice to have in one place. So you can get notification about budgets through chatbot in your, for instance, Slack. And then we added AWS setup cost and usage report, which is like, it's a bit more, it has a deep granularity when it comes to understanding how much you're spending and who is driving which resources are driving the cost. So it will create the billings report and save it to an S3 bucket. And it's not here, but if you want, you can set up Athena and query those billing reports. And within Cost Explorer, it's not in the architecture here, but you can also, and you should always have cost anomaly detection. So you can set those, choosing the threshold, and then you will get notification on which type of anomaly it detects, and also which resource is actually, it could be the root cause, and you get notification in your Slack account. Yes, and then there are a bunch of other services that overlap a bit between our goals, because, for instance, like, as you can see in the security account, we have Compute Optimizer, which is a service that will allow you both to get an idea like of how you can optimize your compute resources, but at the same time it will give you a suggestion to also reduce costs. And there was something else, maybe? No, probably not. Okay, so when it comes, I mean, everything that I mentioned here will help you to improve monitoring and observability of your cloud environment. But if we jump to the security part, we see that we have a bunch of services here. We have AWS Security Hub, which will allow you to automate security best practice control, and you can get, like, I think, I don't, if some of you have seen Davide, Davide, presentation, he mentioned it before and explained pretty well, and you can get, you could have a solution on the side to get also compliance report, and not only just, because it could be really noisy to get notification in Slack, so I would probably, we don't do that, we also create the compliance report. Then you can get, in this case, we have guard duty, which allows you to, like, it will scan continuously your resources and see, like, if there are, like, any possible threat, and find anomalies and send notification to your channel. Then we have detective, which instead it does more it creates, like, it will get guard duty activities and create a graph for you, and you can use it for incident management, like understanding, like, how your resource behave. So it's really, really interesting. And then inspector, which instead will go through your it will search for software vulnerabilities mainly. So yes, what else am I missing? Something? Yes, so cool. Another thing we've done when it comes to the log archive instead, it was setting up Athena to query the logs that AWS Control Tower create for us. And then probably another service that it's worth to mention is AWS Resource Explorer, because you will have a centralized place where, like, you can understand, like, and see all the resources that you have within the organization. Yes, so let's see if there's something more I can. Oh yes, as you can see, in close to some of those services, you have, I added DA, and that it stands for delegated admin, because the thing is that the management account within organization is a special account. It has a lot of power, and you don't want to, and technically everything we have seen, we have done in the security account could have been done through the management account. But the thing is that you don't want to give access to the management account to probably anyone. So one thing you can do is leverage the feature that AWS organization has, and I mentioned before, like using the integration. You can integrate basically all of a lot of services within AWS, and then you can delegate the management of those services to another account, other member's account. And of course, we probably want that in the security account. Yes, so this is like, this is something like, yes, it requires some effort, but it's not, you really have to just probably do some setup here, tuning, and if we go to the categories, you see that we added a lot of stuff. We probably get a really good capabilities, like we are really good when it comes to cost, finance capabilities. We added a bunch of things in the compliance category as well, and the security one. So with a bit of effort, but I would say, like, with the help of AWS Control Tower that creates the first, like, baseline, and then refining it a bit, you can really have solid cloud foundations where, like, you can start to build things. Yes, so conclusion. So what we've seen is that good cloud foundation requires skill, effort, and time. It's not so obvious to have good cloud foundations in place. That AWS Control Tower will help you to do it in an easy way, like with not so much effort, probably, not so much time. And then you should always, like, try to refine your landing zone to master cloud financial management, cost, enhance observability and monitoring of your cloud environment, and security and master governance. So that was it. This is the QR code to get feedback. This was the first version of this lecture. While I was speaking, I thought about a lot of things that I could have said or done in a different way. So be brutal and give me feedback. Would be nice. Thank you.
Okay, so now we have the time for some questions. This one.
I use AWS backup to backup nightly on another region and another account for disaster recovery purpose. I've read somewhere that some people are putting that account on outside of organization for security purpose. What's your advice on this topic for security and manageability? I mean, even if in this case I will have a different bill and so on.
Well, I mean, I don't know if we go back, let's see, like, what Control Tower does for you. I don't know if having it in another, like, separate organization would really be beneficial. I would probably kind of follow, like, trust AWS. In this case, I would trust AWS Control Tower.
Yes, but the problem is that if someone hack my account, they will hack even the disaster recovery.
Yeah, but if you still have a standalone account somewhere outside your organization, if they hack that, you know, like, I don't know, and there are policies in place, like, so the landing zone, you can set up a lot of policies in the organizational unit level, so you can really, like, prevent a lot of actions to basically, even if they maybe get access to your account, since they are within an organization where, like, there are really strict policy, they can't do so much. So I think using the approach, like having stuff within your organization, make sure that you have the right policies in place would be better than managing, like, using it outside of the organization. It's better to leverage the features of organizations, I think.
Thank you.
You have also the backup log.
Yeah, exactly. They can't delete. They prevent to delete.
You need to raise a ticket to AWS.
Yeah.
So it's something that allow you to block.
I have two questions for you.
Yes.
The first one is how your landing zone manage the centralized root account in your AWS organization, if it's possible or not, and how, which kind of impact do you find in your use case. The second one is introduction of Terraform because, yeah, of course, landing zone, fantastic, and you could create a lot of these services using CloudFormation, but CloudFormation could have some limitation.
Yeah.
No? In that case, you need to bring inside of your landing zone also Terraform. No? If you never have some impact about installation and some module of Terraform in this kind of configuration of landing zone.
Okay, I will start with the first one. Like, from the 21st of March, AWS requires, so like what we are working on is like to write a Lambda that makes sure to, first there's a feature you can decentralize the, centralize the root credentials. Yes, you can do that. And then there's an interesting AWS blog post about having a Lambda, like some code that like will delete root credentials when finding within your organization. And the goal it would be to run that daily, so that even if someone, I mean, maybe you bring existing account or someone, or you create new accounts and that will have root credential. If you run that daily, when you find them, you delete them. So by using that, the centralization of the root credential plus make sure that they will not create new ones and delete them when you find them. And the second one was about Terraform. I mean, it's an interesting question. The thing is that, for instance, we use CDK. So it's like, yeah, I know, but mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you. But yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, just one.
Thank you for the presentation, first of all. I see that all these approaches, sophisticated, kind of sophisticated and advanced. The question is, what do you think that these can be applied for any company in any stage or scale, or you think that this is more effective for big companies or from a certain level of a certain stage?
Yeah, so we deploy this for, we go from small and medium businesses to enterprise. Some of those are optional. So probably it really ties into like what are your business needs. Maybe some of them they don't need detective. Like, so it's like this what I show here is an ideal one, and I think like there are some things that you don't have to have, but I think having control tower to have like a multi account strategy. So you have like having a multi account strategy should be in place for either if you're a really tiny one, a startup, or like an enterprise. You need to have multi account strategy. Otherwise, like it's impossible to scale. But then, like how you refine the initial setup, it really depends on where you are in your journey, what are your goals. You can start maybe just to have a notification set up and get some some cost things that and maybe I don't know. I would say like, yeah, let's do it simple and then only the cost. It doesn't cost you so much. It doesn't burden, like if you're a small company, maybe this architecture is not gonna cost so much, but you still get some insights, better insights. So it's really like, and I mean, here I just show some stuff, but you can even go further and refine it even more. So you can take pieces, put pieces based on the needs that you have and where are you in your cloud journey, I think. Thank you. Thank you.